I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode. I'm Amanda, and I'm happy to bring you Jessica Ahlstrand Kwan. She is the face, the talent, the experience behind Sugar Mill Quilts. She also just released a brand new book, and it is called The School of Quilting, The Definitive Guide. It's through Lucky Spool. It's got 100 beautiful color photos. It's for all skill levels. It's got easy step-by-step instructions. And she wrote it with the idea that it could be a reference book for years to come. So as your skills grow, you can continue to go back into the book and learn new things and try new techniques and just really get support throughout. So I'm so excited for you to hear this conversation today and to get to know Jessica and all about her new book. And it's in stores now, so you can go order it from Lucky Spool directly, from Jessica herself, or anywhere else you can order and buy books. Let's get into it. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks
I'm
for having
so
me.
yeah. I'm so glad you're here. I know we've been like talking about this back and forth for a couple months, so I'm glad you're finally on the show.
I'm here.
Yeah. So we were trying to coincide this with like the release of your new book, which we will get to. I'm so excited to talk about it because it looks beautiful. And it's out, it's available. So that's exciting. People can go check it out.
Yeah.
But before we get there, I want to know how you even got into quilting in the first place.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I went to college in Michigan, of all places. I'm from Northern California. Went
Okay.
to college in Michigan and I graduated in 2001. And I was in Europe until September 9th of 2001, right
Oh
before September 11th.
my
And then
gosh.
like there was no job opportunity or anything afterward. So my mom was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to just move to Hawaii." So I did. I moved to Hawaii and I lived there for almost 10 years. And
Oh
that's
gosh.
where I learned to quilt. Actually, I learned traditional Hawaiian quilting as my first form of quilting. So it was all by hand, needle turn applique, and then all hand quilting. So
Wow.
that's what I did first for years. And I didn't even really, I mean, I knew machine quilting existed, but I had never tried it. And then fast forward to when I moved back to California. And I was pregnant with my son and I was like, oh, I want to make him a quilt. So I did, a regular like squares quilt on a
Yeah.
sewing machine that I had. And that was back in 2015.
Okay.
So 10 years ago. And that's how I got into machine quilting.
Okay. Wow. I wow. I what an interesting way to get into it. So I guess like yeah, when you were in Hawaii, was there like did somebody drag you into it? Were you looking for something to do?
So nobody drew me into it, but I've always been very crafty. And my mom was a sewer,
Hmm.
clothing. She did clothing when I was young. And I was never really into that. But I also was part of a canoe club there, outrigger
Mm.
canoe paddling, which was a very like local thing to do.
Hmm.
And I was really interested in Hawaiian culture in general. And so I decided to learn. I lived in Lahaina, which is like really sad.
Hmm.
Now, wasn't then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I was involved in outrigger canoe paddling, and then I decided because I have always been very crafty and um, liked doing, I don't know if I would say art, I would say more craft stuff.
Hmm.
Like I decided, that would be a really cool thing to learn. And so there was a store on Front Street back then um, that these two old aunties like had, and I took a class, and it wasn't even a class. It was literally one of them and me. I mean, it was. I went in and they would said, "Oh yeah, we have time," and they showed me what to do, and I kind of took
Wow.
it and I made an actual Hawaiian quilt. It took me about a year and a half to do the whole thing, and that was with like pretty consistent work too.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun, and I still do it now, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I do when I want
Wow.
something slower.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
cool.
I think it's funny because sometimes people are like, oh, I bet they don't have like fabric in Hawaii or whatever because it's the times that I've gone or like my mom is gone and people are like, oh, where are you going to buy fabric there? And she's like, yeah, probably. And they're like, well, do they even quilt in Hawaii? And I'm like, dude, you clearly know nothing.
Yeah, there's a really deep history of Hawaiian quilting, and the quilts are they're incredible. I mean, 100 years old quilts that are in museums, and there is actually I don't know if it's Iolani Palace. Don't quote me on this, but there is a either a museum or a library on Oahu where you can go if you want the patterns, you can go and trace them for free the
Oh,
like old school Hawaiian quilting patterns, which are
yeah.
incredible. Um, but yeah, Hawaii's got a really deep history with quilting.
Yeah. Yeah, they're beautiful. And like you said, it is a slow process because everything's done by hand and like,
Super slow.
yeah,
I mean,
very
if you're doing it by yourself, there's quilt guilds or
right.
um, groups there that will do it all together, and I guess it's faster that way. But
Sure.
I've never been a part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Many hands make light work, but
True.
when
Yeah.
it's your own personal project, it's like, hey, come work on this thing with me, but also don't touch it because it's mine.
Well, like Hawaiian culture is very inclusive
Hmm.
in general and very family oriented and community oriented. So if you make your way into one of those groups, it's pretty fantastic. The amount of community there is. We
Oh,
hear a lot about Hawaiians versus what they call like Howleys, but I'm
mhm.
obviously Howley. But if you take an
Yeah.
interest in their culture and you make an effort, they'll,
Yeah.
welcome you. And it's really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the difference between being like a consumer versus like a contributor
Yeah,
almost.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what can I learn from you? What can it's not like take only taking, it's like a give and take. Like
Yeah,
and I find that in other places of the world too. I think sometimes that's just part of traveling. Like, sometimes people be like, oh, these people were so rude in this country. And I'm like, but how are you? Like, what were you like in that country? Did you try to speak their language? Did you
right.
try to work with them? It's like, I think it's that way anywhere. If you just show up and expect them to bow to you, then they're going to be like, get out of here. We don't want you here.
Yeah.
And it's like that here too. Like, somebody comes into my business and starts demanding things of me, and I'm like, you can leave.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, no. It's a
Thankfully, it doesn't.
collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's so cool. And what a fun, but very like zoomed in, like micro almost experience because you're so close to the fabric. You're touching it constantly. You're really get intimate with those pieces because you're working on it for so long and so detailed. It's like it probably was like, I know it took a long time, but almost like a crash course in how fabric works together because you have to be so connected to it when you're working on it like that.
More than that, for me, I remember where I was when I worked on certain parts of the quilt.
Mm,
So, that memory of sitting on a beach at
mm,
a regatta, like an outrigger paddling regatta. I'll sit on a beach and be doing it. Or, I had done a little bit of traveling in that time and taken it with me. And I was in Guadalajara, Mexico, right?
mm,
And doing it there. And then the people who remember what you were doing. And everyone's always interested, like, what are you doing? I still do it. My son's on the swim team, he's 8,
mhm.
and I bring it to the pool and I'll be working on a quilt block, I'll needle
Yeah.
turn applique still, and people are like, what are you making? Because no one does it anymore. Most people
Yeah.
don't have time, we're all busy parents. And
Hmm.
so while Cam's my son, while he's at swim practice, for half an hour, I'll just bring it and I'll work on it, and people are inevitably interested. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I think so. I think that more, and people will always say, "Oh, you're so talented," but more than talent, it's patience.
Hmm.
Like, like you just need to be able to sit and do slow work, and that drives some people nuts. With the
Yeah.
speed of everything these days. Some people do not like to do that. I enjoy it because of the speed of everything these days. I like to kind of get out of my head, and I can sit and
Hmm.
watch TV, or I can be at swim practice. Like I've just done blocks. I've done
Hmm.
larger pieces, but now I'm just doing blocks. So it's nice to be able to just kind of like zone out a little bit and just focus on what you're doing. So more than like learning about the fabric, for me, it was a way to slow down, uh, and not
Yeah.
focus on all the craziness of the world, and also create something really beautiful that people appreciate, but that most people do not want to take the time to do,
Hmm.
or don't have the ability to take the time to do.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's like, I just find it really kind of like nurturing. And it
Hmm.
also reminds me of a really wonderful time in my life when I was in Hawaii
Yeah.
doing these things. And it's, I don't know. I also think it's an homage to Hawaii, which is such a wonderful place, but it's a really tough place, especially for local people, Hawaiian people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and what a lovely way for you to carry that time with you and to bring it with you wherever you are and like just help like because somebody might see that and get interested in on their own. You may never know, like on their own, go learn about it
Yeah.
and you know, extend the knowledge of what that is. And I think that's like why I personally talk about what I do all the time because sometimes people are, you hear people say like, oh, sewing is just a dying art. And I'm like, bullshit. There's a, multi-billion-dollar industry behind us. Like, are you kidding me? It's not dying, it's just
Yeah.
growing. But I think you're right. Like the slower arts within quilting are kind of maybe on the downturn. I don't know. And I do know people who do hand turn applique who do the slower bits, the EPP and um, the handwork. They're kind of pulling away from the faster paced stuff because they do want to sit and work on something for a while and not feel like they have the pressure of speeding through yet another quilt top.
Yeah, I really feel that there's value in all of it,
Hmm.
right? And for me personally, it's where I'm at in my life. There's really there's a lot of fun, doing a quilt top that I sew on my machine, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I want to speed through those projects. And I've also caught myself feeling like, um, when you're in the middle of it, you go like, oh, I just want to get through this. I just want to get through this. I don't know if you feel this way, but I definitely do. I'm like,
Oh,
oh, I
yeah,
don't,
I do.
I don't want to spend more time cutting it out, or I don't want to spend more time sewing these half square triangles or whatever it is, right?
Hmm.
I just want to get through it. And then you get through it and you're done and you're like, well, like, why did I speed through this? Because now I'm just literally going on to the next project where I'm going to be like, oh, I want to get through this one too.
Yeah.
Um, so with the handwork, it's nice because you have kind of just resigned yourself to, you're not going to speed through it.
Yeah.
There's no way you can do it.
Yeah.
So in that way, it is nice. And honestly, there are some projects like had a Hawaiian quilting project. It was like a 4 by 4, 4 feet
Hmm.
by 4 feet, um, wall hanging that I put away and picked up multiple times over 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And I finished the whole thing. I finished the quilting probably earlier this year or late last year. I
Hmm.
still haven't bound or faced it. Why? Right? Why have
Yeah.
I not? It is what it is. It is
Yeah.
what it is. But at certain times in my life, I definitely have more like mental space to do one project over another,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to have the skill or the knowledge on how to do both.
Yeah.
And some people hate hand work, like they hate it.
I do.
And some people, yeah, and some people only do handwork.
Hmm.
I'm lucky in that I like everything, and it just depends on where my mentality is at the moment, where if I feel like I want to do one thing or another, I can.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that's good. And I think trying everything or as many different skills as you can to find where what you like and what you don't like is better. It gives you the range. You maybe have the skill, maybe you don't like it, but you could do it if you needed to or wanted to
well,
ultimately.
and also like say you are making, a machine piece quilt, right?
Hmm.
But you're trying to get through this quilt really quickly, right? But say you're gifting it to somebody who loves, squids or something, right? Like something random.
Yeah.
How instead of searching for a squid fabric, you could applique a squid in one part of your super simple pieced quilt,
Hmm.
either needle turn or even machine applique, and elevate that quilt so much. So just having the knowledge of how to do that
Yeah.
can take a super simple project into something that's like really amazing and completely one of a kind without
Hmm.
a ton of extra work.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love doing that. I love doing like a simple quilt with a little zhuzh to it, and non-quilters are inevitably impressed.
Yeah.
Like, and they're as impressed with a really simple, what we would call like simple, as they
Yeah.
are with a, quilt that took a ton of time and skill.
Right.
It's with a lot of quilters, I mean, non-quilters, I find that the difference in enthusiasm is not super far apart
Yeah.
because they just like what they would like to look at.
Right. Well, and they're not looking at it with the knowledge of the skills that it takes to make each different
Exactly.
thing. So, like, yeah, a non-quilter can see it and be like, wow, that's cool. And you're like, you don't get it. But then you show a
Well,
quilter and they're like, holy freaking, like, what did you just do? It's like,
yeah,
because they know what it would take to do that, to make that, to the time it would take to put into it. So like
yeah,
it's funny. I agree because I'll like show my husband. I'm like, look at this thing I just made, and he's like, awesome. Or if our kid is home, I'm like, hey, look at this thing, and he's like, that's really neat. And I'm like, you guys suck. And then I'll send pictures to my friends, and they're like, oh my God, that's so cool.
yeah.
Like,
You got to talk to your quilt friends.
yeah, like that's why,
Husbands can be wonderful, but
yeah, yeah. When it comes to a hobby that's not theirs, they're like, wow, and you're like, be more excited, please.
I think most of us have probably run into that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
agree. Having that community of quilt friends, if you are lucky enough to have a good group, is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they like can hold your hand when you're ready to light your quilt top on fire, or they can talk you off a ledge. Like it's,
Or say, you know what, girl, light it on fire. Be done with it.
yeah,
We
exactly.
we're lucky enough here. We just had this creative upcycle store. It's like a reuse store
Oh, yeah.
open.
Uh-huh.
And there you can literally like bring a quilt top that you're not interested in finishing there and donate it, and then they'll sell it to somebody else who is,
Yeah.
for a discounted price. So now that this store is open, I feel even less pressure. If it's not working, I have come to the point in my life where I'm like, if this isn't working, I'm not going to waste my time, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else will like this. Somebody
Hmm.
else will appreciate and enjoy this. If the fabric's not working, like stop. I'm
Okay.
not going
Yeah.
to force myself to
Yeah.
like, plow through a project where I'm not feeling it.
Right. That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's a really nice resource to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that just opened within the last year here.
Oh, that's so
Um,
nice.
yeah, and they have like great stuff. Like not all the time,
Yeah.
but it's cool.
That's so cool. We have one here too, but like they're open weird hours. And so every time I'm like, I should go there, I look and they're not open. I'm like, oh, God, seriously. And I get it. They're like, they can only sell when they've got stuff on hand or whatever. And they're just kind of like a part-time business. But it is nice to know that it is there because they have like embroidery floss and yeah, fabric and
Hmm.
partial projects that, yeah, somebody might pick up and be like, I would love to finish this, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, ours is like a regular store. It's in Pleasant Hill,
Oh,
California. It's called
okay.
Creative Upcycle for anybody who's in
Nice.
the neighborhood. Um, it's awesome. They have like sewing, quilting. They even have sewing machines. They have fabric, obviously, and notions. But then they have
Hmm.
like rubber stamps and stuff for a
Oh,
Cricut or yarn or,
yeah.
you know, paper crafts. They have so much stuff. And they're open regular hours,
That's
which is
awesome.
fantastic. And
Yeah.
they're like, I think they get overwhelmed with donations. They get a
Oh, I'm
lot
sure.
of donations. Um, it's great.
That's so cool.
My guild, I'm part of a modern group.
Hmm.
And we also like bring fabrics to each other,
Yeah.
pretty normally, like almost every meeting.
Yeah.
And then whatever we don't want, we just, whatever's not taken, we
Uh-huh.
just take to that store now. So it feels like you're not trashing anything or, um,
Yeah.
everything's going to be used it's great.
Yeah. No, I love that. My modern guild does that too, like bring stuff. But then they're like, if you don't, nobody takes it, you have to take it home with you because
Yeah.
it was piling up. But um, and then the other guild I'm in, same thing, they'll take donations and stuff, but they have like uh more charity programs and stuff that they'll put the fabric to use for. But then also sometimes they get overwhelmed and they're like, all right, does anybody want some of this stuff? Like somebody in the area last year, the mother, this family, she passed away, and they're like, oh, we have a few bins of just like different threads, like some of it's for embroidery, some of it's just for machine sewing, whatever. And our guild was like, okay, yeah, sure. So the president last year, she went to get it, and it was like 13 of those giant black and yellow totes from
Hmm.
Costco,
Hmm.
13 of them full of thread. And it's just like multiples of every single color. And so like she let people from that guild go through, and then she brought it to the modern guild to let people go through it, and still ended up with a ton, and was just like, oh my god, what do we do with this? So but it's
It's wild how much we buy.
yeah, yeah. I'm
It's
like, how did this one person have this many spools of thread?
uh dopamine hits.
I guess, like, but it was like, 20 of the orange cones, 20 of the gray cones, 20, like there was tons of each color. And maybe she was like a prolific embroiderer. I don't know. I didn't know anything about this person, but it was just interesting to me because I think about like all the fabric I have, and like personally for my own personal stash, I just have one bin, and I've been pretty like careful to not overbuy. But then I like my business, however, I'm like, I end up with fabric scraps from quilts I've made for people because they don't want the extra fabric. They're not quilters. That's why they hired me. Or I've bought fabrics because they've been like super, super discounted. And I'm like, oh, I could use this for a backing. Have I? No, they're still in a bin. So I'm like trying to find ways to sell this fabric I have because I'm like, I'm not going to use it. It's just taking up space. And I like that, whatever, whoever dies with the most fabric wins. I'm like, what do you win? An angry family that you're leaving behind because they have to deal with all your shit? Like, no, I don't want to be that person. So
Yeah.
it's hard
Yeah.
though, because there's so much pretty stuff out there.
Yeah, I'm a definite like over purchaser. Not recently actually. I've cut like way back, but for the years that I've bought fabric, anytime, you're traveling, you go, "Oh, I want to go in a fabric store." I don't even have to be traveling, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah.
there's some new cute line and you go, "Oh, I love this fabric." And I will buy like that print, right?
Hmm.
But I don't buy the blenders or the colors that I need. So what I've ended up with is lots of like focus fabrics, which is great. But what happens is when I make a quilt, I have to go out and buy more stuff to
Yeah.
match it or to, make the quilt. So
Yeah.
I have cut so far back because my husband asked me, like, how much fabric do you think you have? And I said, I probably have 150 yards. And I was thinking, I have one of those IKEA, cube
Uh-huh.
things with like
Yeah.
the 8 thing.
Yeah.
And I put everything on comic book boards because I love having it displayed where it all is color coordinated and looks pretty.
Hmm.
And I do everything over a yard on a over half a yard on a comic book board. And then if it's like more than 2 yards, I fold it and I put it on top. Right. So
Okay.
I have a whole system. It's in the book BTW. There's a
Ooh.
whole storage. It's silly, but whatever. It works for me.
Yeah.
Um, so I counted the fabric that was just on those comic book boards, not the yardage,
Hmm.
and it was over 300 yards of fabric. Girl, I was
Yeah.
like, ew. And like I'm a lot. Well, the book I wrote, it took 4 years from start to finish.
Wow.
I wasn't writing it the whole time, but there was
Right. Just the
4 years.
process. Yeah.
So I was mental space was taken up by that, right? Then I have my kid and I have my family and I have my long arming business.
Hmm.
And there has not been a lot of room for me to make quilts
Right.
just for fun, right?
Hmm.
I'm the type of long armor who, if I have your quilt, I'm like trying to get it back as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I feel like an obligation. So it's like in my mind that it
Yeah.
needs to be done. So I will not work on my own stuff
Hmm.
until that's done. So I haven't had a lot of opportunity to make things in the last few years. I mean, here and there.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at all this fabric and I'm like, oh my God, like I have so much. Like
Yeah.
it's abundant. So I just said I'm not
Yeah.
obviously you're not getting rid of a lot of fabric when you're hand stitching, you know.
Right. When you take a year to make one quilt.
Right. If you're lucky. If you're lucky. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have like all I need and more. And I'm really focusing on just not buying more or getting rid of things, passing on, sharing things that I do have in order to pare down. So if I do want something really special, I won't feel like I have to, shove it in to get it to fit. There's actually
Yeah.
room for something.
Yeah.
But I've seen a couple of these estate sales where these women who are maybe prolific quilters, they create a lot, still have massive amounts of fabric. And
Hmm.
it's not a great investment, obviously. And when you have so much, you can't focus on any one part of what you have, right?
Hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
there was a woman
Yeah.
there was a woman here who passed away a few years ago, and she was single and lived in a house and by herself. And her son lived in Chicago or something. And she passed away, and there was so much fabric. I think she wasn't like a hoarder, right? It was all
Sure.
organized, but her whole house was filled with sewing machines and fabric. And also, I guess she collected Birkenstocks and
Oh,
Land's End tote bags. There were just a few things, right? And so
yeah.
these women from this group that was at our local quilt shop said, we'll come in and organize everything to have a fabric sale. This fabric sale was so massive. And it was inside the house, it was out in the backyard, I mean, spread over tables, and it was it was just wild how much
Yeah.
stuff there was. And it made me really rethink how I wanted to collect myself
Yeah.
or purchase, what I
Yeah.
wanted to do. Because say I died tomorrow,
Hmm.
I want it to be handleable for the people who are still here, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want
That's
to I
it.
don't want to be a burden in that way. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a burden in other ways, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to be a burden in that specific way because,
Yeah.
you don't win if you die with the most. You just have a bunch of fabric that you have to get rid of. You have to get rid of.
Right. Right. It's like I'd rather leave a quilt behind that somebody can use and love
Yeah.
and continue to share through the family than a bunch of unused fabric because then, yeah, that's just going to get sold off or given away or, it's like it means nothing at that point. But if
Yeah.
it's in something that I've made, that is meaningful, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be like, I want that quilt that Auntie Sissy made, or I want that quilt that my sister made. It's like,
Yeah.
it's more important than it is just as loose fabric because it's what
Yeah.
you do
It's
with it.
usable. It's usable functional art.
Yeah.
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 And it
Yeah.
makes you warm and cuddly. What's better than that?
I know, right? I know. It's been such a mind shift for me because I was like buying everything. Anytime like Ruby Star would release anything, I'd buy the whole line or anytime, it's
Uh,
just like all the stuff like Tula and I've just been going through and trying to like, okay, what am I realistically going to use? What's realistic for my business to keep? Like, if anything. And kind of at the point where I'm just like, I don't need any of this. I don't need any of this. Cause then it's like, yeah, if I make quilts for a client, then I end up having to go buy stuff anyway, because I don't ever have like the right color, or if I do, it's
Yeah.
not enough or whatever. Like it just turns into this whole thing where I just end up buying more no matter what. Like you were saying, like if you just
Yeah.
only buy focal prints, like what about the backgrounds? What about the blenders? What about the solids? It's like,
Yeah. Well, you know what another great way to use fabric that I've started doing recently? I don't use quilting cotton for backings that often. I love minky.
me
Like
too.
I
Oh my
love to
God.
be cuddly and warm. Some people I know hate that feeling, but not
No,
me.
I
I love
love
it.
it. Me
Like,
too.
and I do not feel, I do not appreciate sitting under a quilt that is not like heavy and cuddly. Like,
I'm the same way.
I don't love it. I don't know. Even in the summertime,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going to sit under it, it has to be like weighty and
Mm-hmm.
um. But when I do use quilting cotton for backings, I don't go and buy backings anymore.
Mm.
I'll just go in and find yardage of what I have. Say I have, when I buy fabric, it's like a yard at a time.
Yeah.
Usually, I'm not into fat quarters. I'm not
Mm-mm.
into half yards. I'll just buy a yard because I might need it
Mm-hmm.
when I was buying more fabric. But now I'll just go in and I'll be like, okay, I need a 4 yard backing. I need 4 yards. I'll go in my stash and get four separate 1 yard cuts that
Yeah.
I can piece together super simply to make a backing for a quilt.
Oh yeah, that's smart.
It gets rid of 4 yards of fabric.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of work. Visually, it's more interesting than, say, a solid or,
Mm-hmm.
like little flowers or whatever I would do. And nobody cares. That's like the biggest thing. Like, as quilters, we're all, I want to make it perfect. Like, nobody gives a crap.
No,
I
nobody looks at the
mean,
backside unless it's sneaky.
but nobody even gives a crap about the front.
No.
It's like kind of a tough pill to swallow because you spend so much time and energy and nobody
Yeah.
cares. I mean, they love getting it,
Right.
but the reality is that nobody's going to make sure your points are perfect.
Mm-mm.
Nobody's going to care if there's a little, tuck or your starch made your fabric seize up a little so it's kind of wrinkly. Like like nobody cares.
No. They
So
just want to be under that quilt. Like
yeah,
they just want to be able to use it. And if
yeah.
they're not gonna like nitpick it, and if they do, they don't deserve it.
Well, so the reason I know that nobody cares is that first of all, nobody cares. I've noticed that. But also, I received a quilt as a gift when I got married,
Mm.
right? And it was from a friend's mom who's been a quilter forever and had always wanted one of her quilts. And um, when I, as a quilter, received a quilt, I spent very little time, at, basically zero,
Yeah.
looking at how her piecing was
No.
or what the quilting design was or if there were any mistakes. I mean, literally zero. And I do this for a job.
Right.
So if I'm not looking,
No one else is.
nobody's looking.
No. I know. I got a quilt from my mom and dad for when I graduated with my master's. And again, a quilter getting a quilt, I was like in tears, sobbing. I was just like, I love it so much. Have I paid even one moment of time looking at my mom's piecing? No, absolutely not. Why do I
Nope.
care? No, she made me a quilt. She
Yeah.
sneakily taught me to pick out my fabric because she told me it was for my aunt, because she was also graduating with her master's at the same time. She's like, oh my gosh, like help me pick fabric for Aunt Val. And I'm like, okay. And went around. I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. I love this. It's like, I can't even remember the name of the line now. Abbey Rose, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it's like teals and peaches and pinks and so cute. And she made me a quilt with it. And I was like, you sneaky bitch. I love you so much. Like, I don't
People
care.
just want to be thought of.
Yeah.
People love handmade gifts and they love being thought of and
Mhm.
considered and they
Yeah.
don't care if
Yeah.
it's perfect.
No, they don't. And I say from my mom and dad because my dad embroidered the label that my mom put on the back. So she did
Sweet.
most of the work, but he did do that part. So anyway, yeah, it's like I don't care. I'm not gonna like I could go nitpick it and pick it apart, but why would I do that?
What, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for whose benefit? And I don't care. I know she did a good job. I trust her. Like I've watched her sew my entire life. So like why would I question it? as a gift, let alone ever.
Right. Yeah. And you're a quilter and we
Yeah.
care the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's
So
what I tell my long arming clients when they bring them in. Oh, there's a mistake here.
I
No,
know. Like, I don't
you
care.
know, I know, nobody else is gonna know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
People are
unless
like, don't judge my quilt. And I'm like, I will not judge it. The only time I will ever say anything to you is if it's going to be problematic for what I need to do to it. If it's going to cause an
so
issue.
do you also, so I love to like educate my clients.
Yeah,
Like,
I do too.
and I try to do it in a way that is, and I've never had any issue. All my clients are fantastic.
Mine too. Yeah.
Um, but it's really interesting to receive other people's work. So before I did, I'll just backtrack a little.
Yeah.
Before I did quilting, I did professional cakes, custom cakes,
Oh,
like tiered wedding cakes and fancy birthday cakes. And I did that
yum.
for years.
Yeah.
And so when I was doing that, I baked the cake, I made the frosting, I built the whole thing, I decorated, I did the design, everything. I delivered it, right? It was me. So
Yeah.
when I switched to quilting, to long arming, after my son was born, because cakes did not work for my schedule anymore,
Yeah.
when I switched, I was not prepared for the change when I was working on other people's art.
Hmm.
Right? Cake was all mine, but now I had somebody else's stuff and I was responsible. So that was a like mental shift for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I was very nervous at first, but this is another thing. I'm just gonna do like a sidebar here. I always assume that people know a ton of stuff.
Me
I
too.
always assume people know everything.
Me too.
And like writing this book has like really brought into focus. I have kind of a wide it's not easy for me to talk about myself like this, but I have a
Hmm.
wide knowledge of a lot of different quilting skills.
Yeah.
And I just assume because I did the work to find out how to do them that other people have done the same thing
Yeah.
and they don't. And it's not a bad thing. It's just
Mm-mm.
difference in, personality or time or whatever, right? But
Hmm.
I always assume that people know more than me or are on the
Yeah.
same level. And it's really been an interesting journey to go like, oh, that's not necessarily true. And so like back to long arming, when
Hmm.
clients bring something to me that, maybe has a wavy border, which is a very common thing with and I know this because I did it. That's how I learned not to do a wavy border because I made that mistake myself.
Yeah.
But people don't know that you can't just, measure a quilt and go, oh, it's 60 inches wide. So I'll cut a piece of fabric that's 60 inches and slap it on there. Like that is not
That's how it works.
gonna, yeah, it's not gonna work. But most people don't. Why would you know that?
Yeah.
Why would it not work? Right?
Right.
That was what I thought.
Hmm.
So it's kind of been a lovely experience for me as a long armor, having people come and then being able to explain this is why this doesn't work or this is how this will work the right way. It can be
Hmm.
frustrating because in the end you're like, I just want to work,
Yeah.
but also um, explaining things that people don't know or
Hmm.
understand, and kind of being a little bit of a teacher sometimes.
Hmm.
And that was another thing about the book because there's so many things that, unless you're around quilting all the time, it takes time to learn all
Hmm.
this stuff, right? And all
Hmm.
these little tricks and all these little shortcuts or, um, you know, the different ways to achieve one thing,
Yeah.
right? And you
Yeah.
can find your own favorite.
Yeah.
There may be four different ways to achieve one little thing, and
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong. It's just
Yeah. Exactly. And that's
there's
why I
just a ton of
tell,
knowledge out there. But I always
yeah.
think, oh, these people know this. They don't want to hear from me. I'm kind of like, no, they don't want to hear
Yeah.
from me. And then I'm realizing, oh, people, they do
Yeah.
because it's way easier for somebody to tell you than to go
Right.
find it yourself, right?
No, exactly. And I think too, like, my promise that, or like my kind of contract, whether it's written or not, like with my client, is that your quilt is going to come back to you, you know, better than I got it, because it's going to, not in terms of like because I did anything to it specifically, but just like it's now ready for the next steps of being finished. Like
Yeah.
it's quilted, if it's flat, it's straightened out, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, wavy borders has been um troublesome, and getting people to like break their old bad habits. Like, I will no longer quilt your quilts if you bring them to me like this. I can't do it because either it's going to create more puckers, which you don't want in your quilt, and you ask me
Mhm.
to fix it every time, which I don't have time for. Like, it's just me. So, like, if you're sending me your quilts and then I have to do a bunch of work to it just to be able to do my part of the job, like, then I'm not going to do it anymore. Like,
Well, do you charge for that time?
I do, but it's like when I've got, you know, stacks of other quilts that need to get on
Yeah.
my machine. Like you said, I don't want their quilts sitting in my studio for 6 weeks. I want them out. Like, I want to be able to get it on my machine and get it out the door so that they can have their quilts back. And so when I'm having to spend, an hour or two fixing someone's quilt when it should be on the machine, it's been a long time since we've had, I like that, since I've gotten any quilts that were that needy. But it's because I trained my customers. Like, this is what I expect from you on your end, and this is what I'll
Mhm.
give you in return, in that way. Like, and I have some clients who are just like, yeah, I know my piecing sucks and I don't care. I'm not going to do anything about it. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I
And
mean,
and
that's
that's
fair,
fair. I
whatever.
don't care. Like, okay, as long as you know. But it's the ones who come in, their piecing's bad. I try to talk to them and then they don't want to hear it. And then their quilt looks bad because they didn't want me to fix it.
Yeah, I
And
haven't had that experience, thankfully.
yeah, it's been a long time, but I think also it's for me, like you, I don't like to think of myself as like, or it's hard for me to think of myself as like an expert in anything,
Sure.
or the knowledgeable one in anything. But I'm like, yeah, when I have spoken up and been like, so I would just want to show you this spot in your quilt. Like, it was fine. I was able to quilt it, but I just want to show you for future, like, so that I don't have to do this to your quilt again. And so that you don't have to deal with this again. Like, here's how I would approach this.
Yeah.
And first, most people are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Thank you so much for telling me. And then the next quilt I see is even better than the last one. And then the next one is even better. And the next, it's like I can see the improvement because they're now learning more. And maybe just that one little step encouraged them to like think about it better, in a better way, instead of just being like, oh well, oh well. It's like, no, not oh well, because for me that gets in my way.
Right.
And
I recently had a client who I've done a few t-shirt quilts for before.
mhm,
But this one was a doozy. It was the first time I was not able to quilt a quilt. And I think it's interesting to, I think as a long armor, you take pride in being able to take whatever, right?
yeah, yeah,
Usually. This is
yeah,
the first time where I had a quilt. It was a t-shirt quilt, and it was t-shirts that were obviously interfaced, which is totally normal.
hmm,
But then it was pieces like from this part of the t-shirt that was also
uh-huh.
interfaced and then put on top of the
Oh
interfaced t-shirts. And
yeah,
then there was like even these little stuffed animals that were like small stuffed animals that were sewn to the quilt.
oh,
And uh but the kicker, because I could have gone around all that, right?
but to roll it up,
The kicker was that the seams, when you're on the back of a quilt and when you're sewing the large blocks together and things fold over if they're not secured down, it all the seams were like half inch, 3/4 inch seams, and they were all folded over onto each other. And so where the four shirts came together, it was just, I mean, like literally my machine just couldn't even,
go
not
over
even
it.
sewing, couldn't even get over it.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
felt so awful because it was, well, I felt awful for her
Hmm.
because she had obviously put a ton of work into it.
Yeah,
Um, but that it was t-shirts, right? She had cut I don't know, it was a grandchild or something. She had taken all of these shirts, and I literally was like, I think you have to take this whole thing apart and
yeah,
redo it, which is so awful because it was a time sensitive gift. And I don't know, you just
yeah,
really want to do right by your clients.
right,
And it just
yeah,
broke my heart. But that was the first time I've had that experience. And she was obviously, she wasn't mad at me, but she was obviously like really
Upset.
unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was upset.
Yeah.
Uh,
As you
you
would
don't want to
be.
make your clients feel upset, but there is a limit,
No.
right? I'm not willing to ruin my machine for um, a quilt that is not going to work.
Right.
Yeah, and so you kind of have to be an advocate for yourself too as a business owner, and
Yeah.
which is tough. We're women, and we love to, I don't have as much problem with it. I think because I'm really outgoing and I've had my own business before, like cake stuff. I was
Yeah.
always dealing with brides and wedding planners, and you really have to
Yeah.
like push
You have to
back
know.
on some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't charge enough for what we do.
Mm-mm.
We're nervous to tell people no. Uh, there's all sorts of things that come with being a female,
Mm-hmm.
especially, as a business owner,
Mm-hmm.
that are tough.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as, if you go online and you ask for advice, everyone's like, oh, just say, you can't do it or I won't do it. But like when you're looking your friend in the eye,
You're like,
it's not that easy, right? Or
no.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. It's a fine balance, I think. And I definitely have had to learn what my business boundaries are
Mm-hmm.
coming into it because I came from teaching. So I was just like, I'm an educator, working with kids, like there are boundaries, but it's like a completely different thing. And so then coming in and like wanting to say yes and like undercharge people and all this stuff. And then finally being like, you know what? No, my time is not worth this. Like I quit a career, like, which was I'm never going back to, but like I quit my job for this to make
Right.
this my job. And so it needs to make money. And if I'm giving my labor away for free, it's never going to be profitable. And
Yeah.
so just getting okay with saying, this is what I charge. And if people are like, I can't afford it, then me being like, that's okay. Then it's not for you. Or then I'm not your quilter. And
Yeah.
and for long arming, like my prices are still pretty competitive for my area. Like uh where the frustration comes is when I undercharge because I'm a scaredy cat for like custom stuff, which I do very rarely because I don't love it. But um
I don't do it.
yeah,
Well, first of all, I suck at it.
it's hard. It's hard.
I
And
suck. I am not like it takes a lot of practice, not
mhm,
willing to do it. I don't have the patience for it. If I'm doing edge to edge, I just want to like go, right? And
yeah,
custom work, I mean, I've had quilts on my machine for a week, and that's not even crazy custom work, right?
no,
I'm just I don't
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
I'm with
I
I'm with you.
I'm ready to say no to everything because I've taken on so many recently that I'm like, why did I say yes to this? Like, why did I say, yeah, I can do that? Because some of it is digitized because I've got my machine computerized. And so I'm like, well, I can do that. But then I'm like, oh yeah, it takes forever to set it up digital anyway, because you still have to like, know all your points and know the parts like
Yeah.
where you're gonna fit that motif into and like how's it gonna come
Do a
out. And
design, resize, make it look good. Yeah, all of it.
yeah. And I'm like, what am I doing this for? Because even when I get paid the amount that I charge, I'm like, that still doesn't feel like enough. Which,
I also find that um like I don't enjoy it. So I want to enjoy my work,
yeah, yeah,
And so I think as you get older, you get more selfish or focused or
yeah,
and so
yeah,
I'm kind of unapologetic at this point about this is what I do.
yeah,
That's it. If
yeah.
you don't want that, then great. But yeah, the enjoyment, if I loved doing ruler work or something, and I just loved it, right? I didn't need the income. It was fun. That
Right.
might be a different story.
Yeah.
But we've all got lives and
Right. I know.
and
I
I'm
know.
just I don't know. I joke, I love saying no.
Yeah.
I like no,
I'm
not gonna.
getting better at it. Clearly not at the moment, but I'm starting to get better at it. Do you think it's selfish or do you think it's just that you know yourself so much better than now than you did when you were like 25, that you know what your
Yeah.
limitations are, what your desires are for your life, and it's easier to say no?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Okay.
I don't mind being selfish. Like, I'm generous with things that I want to put energy into.
Yeah.
So I think it is selfish is like has such a bad connotation, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm fine with being selfish because I'm taking care of myself. Like, who's going to look out for me
Right.
in my long arming one person business if I'm not?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, our husbands, they're going to be like, oh, cool, right? Like, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think I've gotten better with being selfish, which means that I want to do what I want to do.
Hmm.
And then I've also gotten just better at saying no and being an advocate for myself because you deal with enough situations where you're like, this doesn't feel great. I wish I
Hmm.
wasn't doing this, so I don't do it
Yeah.
anymore.
I love that. And that like kind of gives me a little permission, I guess, that I think I've been feeling like I need to say no to stuff, to just be like,
Yeah.
just because someone else out in the world told you that I do something doesn't mean that I do something. Because I think that's part of it too, is like I've got, people who love me and advocate for me and word of mouth share about my business, which is great. And it gets me new clients. But then I also think it sometimes they'll tell this person I can do something that I can't or that I won't do. And then I almost feel obligated to say yes because my friend got me a client.
No, just say no.
But yeah, but like, sorry, Jessica said I have to say no.
Yeah,
Sorry.
tell them I told you. No, if you don't like, if you are making enough money uh, for what you need to make,
Hmm.
and you don't need to do it, like you don't need to hustle that way. Life is hard enough.
Yeah.
You don't like everybody's got stuff, right?
Hmm.
We're all going through stuff. The world is crazy right now. Um, Protect your mental health.
Yeah.
And you don't want that person going and telling like, "Oh, I got this custom work from Amanda." Like,
Yeah.
no,
No, you
no,
didn't.
Amanda doesn't want to do it.
Amanda said no.
So it's much better to tell people who you are, where you're at, let them know up front, and the likelihood that they'll think you're a bitch or something, like, also, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, okay, well, I never have to see you again, so whatever.
I mean, that's about them, not about you. We're all
Yeah.
like women, we're all like, oh, I want everybody to like me. Well, newsflash, I guess not everybody's gonna like you, right? So
Yeah.
you might as
Yeah.
well be doing what you want with the people who do like you.
Hmm. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, who who has my back? Who can I call? Who is the person that's like gonna like again like talk me off a ledge? Or who are the people that are gonna do that? And like, do they support what I'm doing? Yeah. Okay. Do they even care? Or do they think I'm a bitch? No. Okay. Does my husband like me? Yeah. Okay. I'm fine. Like,
Yeah,
do I like me? I think that's ultimately like, it's not even about what other people think of me. It's like, can I look myself in the mirror and say, I I had my own back today. I put myself
that's right.
first.
That's
I
right.
took care of what I needed to take care of. And do I feel good about the way that I handled those things? That's all that matters, honestly.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
really if I dig down and instead of, if I take everybody else out of it, can I look myself in the mirror at the end of the day and go, you did good today, girl? Like, that's all
Yeah.
I want.
And are you enjoying what you're doing? Does it fulfill you? Does it,
Yeah.
like, does it feel good?
Yeah.
I know when I take jobs or I have taken jobs that I don't like, I feel kind of resentful.
Hmm.
Not of myself, but I'll feel resentful. I don't know who I'm resentful of. Like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm the same way.
yeah. And it's not fun. And then you're just like, oh, I can't wait for this to be done. If we're gonna work at something that we love, we might as well love it.
Right. Exactly. It's like I didn't create this business so that I could hate it. I created it because I love quilting and long arming is my most favorite part of quilting. And so I have a long arm business so that I can do that part over and over again because I freaking love it. It's
What you love.
when I try to go outside of what I set out to do, or when I try to, like when it was me and my mom, we would make quilts for people. And now that it's just me, I'm like, I don't have time for that. And maybe one day I'll grow enough that I can do that. But right now, it's just people's stuff takes up space in my studio that I don't have. And, I'm booked through the end of the year. I was booked through like my whole year was booked out by September of last year. So
Damn,
like
girl.
just because like some people wanted
P.S.
multiple quilts. So
So also raise those prices.
yeah,
If you are booked out, it is the end of June. If you're booked out through the year, that means the demand is high. You got to raise the prices.
yeah.
Everything's going up.
Hmm. I
Uh,
know fabric is so expensive right
so
now.
this is a lesson that I learned when I was doing cakes
Hmm.
because I was so busy. I remember one weekend I had 6 tiered cakes, me alone.
Holy smokes.
6 tiered cakes, right? Delivered a little, it was crazy.
Hmm.
Um, and I was like, why am I killing myself when I could book 2 or 3 of these,
And make the same
make the
amount.
same amount of money? Why am I killing myself? Why
Yeah,
am I booking out 6 months in advance? You,
right. Well,
when you can.
yeah,
So it's that's telling you that your prices aren't high enough.
yeah,
And I'm not saying this that you want to like screw over your clients, but there's a
no,
reason that so many people are coming to you when
right.
there's other long armors.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, three of the clients, one wanted three quilts because she wanted like t-shirt quilts or, clothing quilts from each of her daughters so they could each have their own quilt. One of them is six quilts because
Yeah, but still.
I know, but it's like, so yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, I need the year to make these six quilts and I need the year to
Oh,
make
you're
these three
making
quilts.
the quilts?
Yeah, these are like start to finish quilts. That's what I'm saying. Like my
Oh,
mom,
oh,
like when
I
it was
thought you
my
meant for
mom and
long
I,
arming.
no,
I thought
for long arming. I'm also busy for long arming, but like if I am not, but that's the thing is like when I have to sit down and make a quilt for somebody, I'm not long arming because I can't. My attention is when my attention is split
Oh,
like that.
okay. I did not realize. I don't.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm
Got it.
not going to do that
This
anymore
makes more
after
sense.
this year. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make quilts for people after the contracts that I already have in place for this year. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not even that like it's so many people. It's just like there's a few, but they each want multiple quilts. And so,
Yeah. Well,
but
making quilts is another beast.
yeah, yeah.
That's so
So
funny though. Like whenever people, I dread when people ask me what I do for work because it's not like finance
mhm.
or,
You're like I quilt.
yeah. Oh, I'm a professional quilter and everyone's like, what is that? And then I have to, ugh. I don't really talk about what I do
Oh, I
that
talk about it
much.
all the time.
I mean, I'll mention it to friends or whatever, but
Hmm.
mm-mm. Because
That's so funny.
nobody knows what it is, and I am not wanting to go into, well, I have this giant sewing machine in my garage, and I have
Hmm.
to explain it's kind of like a CNC machine because men know what a CNC machine is,
Yeah.
but women don't. So I just go, giant sewing machine, it's computerized like a CNC machine, and it just does the stitching. But it's like exhausting. And then now that the book is out, throwing in like, oh, I'm an author, which does not like resonate with what I've told people I am
Mm,
forever. I didn't like aim to be an author.
sure.
Um, yeah. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you, people are impressed that when you have a published book, people are like, oh,
You have a
you
book.
do?
Yeah.
What's it on?
It's a
You
big
go,
deal. It's a
you
big
go,
deal.
you go, oh, it's on quilting. And they're like, oh, my aunt's really into quilting. Oh, that's cool. Like, is it about like how to quilt or like is it
Hmm.
pictures of like it's
Yeah. I know. It is kind of funny how you have to like advertise yourself to other people while you're talking about yourself in that way. And you're like, it does kind of get awkward sometimes, but I think it's funny. To me, it's kind of funny more than anything when people are like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And I'm like, "Oh, whatever. I build quilts or I like do the part where you bring all the layers together. I just kind of like simplify or whatever." But I just think it's funny because like it is not the thing that people expect you to say. And Um, I've like gotten everything from like, you're too young to be a quilter. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? They're like, I'm like, what do you mean I'm too young to be a quilter? Like, you're too young to be a banker. Like, I don't know. Like, it's
Oh,
like
because
silly.
it's for the blue hairs, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But it is, I do kind of get a kick out of like the the shock and awe of it. But um anyway, I want to ask you about your book now because um
I
that's
have brought a copy of it.
oh, look how beautiful it is. School of Quilting, the definitive guide. So what made you want to write this book?
I didn't.
You're like, I never wanted this.
So I have a relationship with the publisher, which is Lucky Spool.
Okay.
And I knew the woman, Suzanne, who started Lucky Spool, and she passed away, gosh, is it 5 years ago
Oh
in
my gosh.
February, I think. Yeah. So I knew her, and then her husband continued on with the brand, and I know him. And so I think how it happened was he approached me with an idea, and I was like, I don't want to do that idea. But I had always, that was not my,
You're
that
like,
wasn't
no,
my
thank
jam.
you. Yeah.
But I had always wanted to, okay, when you look at a lot of quilting books, it'll be like, here's the patterns, right?
Hmm.
Here's the way you piece this top together. Here's the cuts you make or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Done. What if I'm a new quilter and I don't know how to buy a sewing machine, or I don't know where to buy my fabric, or I don't know what needle size to use, or like, what do I know about batting?
Uh-huh.
How do I finish a quilt? What is any of this, right?
Yeah.
And it can
Yeah.
be so intimidating as a new quilter or even an experienced quilter, right?
Hmm.
So when I decided, I kind of like pitched this book to Lucky Spool, which was like, let's do a kind of overall, I don't want to say encyclopedia, but like a book that will tell you the reasons behind all of these different decisions you have to make in order to come out with a great product.
Hmm.
So the other thing, and this is something that I really wanted to remember to say today, when you're a new quilter or an experienced quilter like you or me, we all go on Instagram, right? We're all on social media.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a lot of these big accounts, and they're all highly curated
Hmm.
with beautiful lighting, beautiful quilts, beautiful people a lot of the time. And I would say that, 99% of us are not that,
Right.
right? But if that's what you're seeing, it can be so intimidating. And even me, who was an experienced quilter, I look at this stuff and I go, oh gosh, they're so perfect. Oh, they look
Hmm.
so good. Oh man, I
Hmm.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we all know we all could if we wanted to put the effort in.
Right.
But I joke that I'm lazy because I don't want to do that. But so if you're thinking of as a new quilter, you go online and you see like, oh my gosh, this is all perfection. There have been so many steps along that person's way that have not been perfection.
Hmm.
So many steps along every quilter's way that are not perfection.
Yeah.
I make mistakes all the time, all
Hmm.
the time. But you don't see that on Instagram, right?
Right.
So, I wanted to make the book really approachable. Like, we all fuck up.
Hmm.
This is going to happen. Doesn't matter how good you are, how long you've been doing this, you will make mistakes forever.
Yeah.
But here's how we deal with them. So not only are there chapters on all of those things that I just mentioned, why you would use certain fabrics, certain needles, certain sewing machines, etc. But there's also, I want to say, maybe 10 technique chapters that
Okay.
are, if you haven't sewn curves before, here's how you do it. You can do improv curves. Here's how to make a circle out of stuff you have at home, right? Or
Hmm.
here's how to do bias tape applique. Here's how to do machine applique. Here's how to do needle turn applique, English paper piecing, foundation paper piecing, all
Yeah.
of those things, t-shirt quilts,
Hmm.
all of those things that are like very common techniques, but they're all in one place. So I wrote it to be kind of a guide, right? You can keep it as a guide near your sewing station and refer to it. Also, how to prepare your quilt for a long armor. Hello, like
Mm-hmm.
different ways you could finish a quilt. There's multiple ways, you know, not everybody's going to have a sewing machine that will take a quilt, right? So you can tie it if you want to,
Mm-hmm.
right? You could hand quilt it. You could do it on your domestic if that works for you. You could take it to a long armor. There's all these different ways to do things, and I don't think we know about them when we're first getting into it, right?
No. Yeah.
So, I am not a fan of quilt police at
Mm-mm.
all. Like, I don't think that there's one way to do everything. I think that if anybody tells you you have to do it a certain way, that's not true at all. I think that, um, like I said before, we will all make mistakes and continue to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have tools where you can identify, like, okay, I did this wrong, how to fix them is important.
Yeah.
So, like in every chapter, every technique chapter, there is a what could go wrong page.
Oh.
And so it will say, you know, you did X, is it fixable?
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, here's how you do it. Uh, if it's not, you know, this is a learning lesson and you got to go back. But so
Yeah.
every single place there's mistakes. I've mistakes that I've made, right?
Yeah.
Like, and this is kind of funny, but on this cover, which is like a debossed cover, so that it's actually got like some texture. It's really pretty, and this is the EPP pillow,
Uh-huh.
and which is in there, just the
Okay.
EPP hexagon pillow. I left. I don't know if you can tell here, but when I made this pillow and I quilted it,
Uh-huh.
I left a line of quilting out. I marked, not on purpose. Like I made a mistake, right?
Yeah.
But I had already marked it with a Hera marker to,
Uh,
you know, do the indentation.
yeah.
So when we were discussing the cover for the book, I was like, they wanted to use this. And I was like, yes. And
Yeah.
there's a mistake literally right here because there's no stitching. There's no
Oh.
stitching here, right?
It's still indented because of the Hera marker,
And
but
that's why I missed it
that's
when I was
hilarious.
making it. I mean, I missed like a dumb line of stitching on a 20-inch pillow, right?
Yeah.
Like, how did
Yeah.
I do it? But I literally put the whole pillow together and brought it to a meeting, and my friend goes, "Oh, like, bless her
Thank
heart."
you.
She goes, "Oh, like, where's the stitching?" And I was like, "Oh my, duh." Like,
You're like, I did that on
but
purpose.
I wanted to leave it on here because if you look at the book,
Mm-hmm. It
do you
doesn't look
notice?
like it. No.
Notice it?
No.
No. But I literally made that giant of mistake and put it on the cover of the book because
That's
that's just
hilarious.
that's just part of it, right?
I
Like
love that.
we're not perfect.
Yeah.
And
We're not.
I don't want anybody to feel intimidated.
I
It's
love that.
it's like we're a welcoming community for the most part, and making mistakes is how you learn. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that you put that, you incorporated those troubleshooting aspects into the book because I feel like you're right. You're just like, here's the pattern, here's how you make it, the end. There's nothing in there to help you if you are new, if you haven't ever tried that technique before, and I shouldn't say never, but it's usually just the pattern and you have to figure it out yourself. And, you know, as we like to say in this house, you fuck around and find out. And sometimes that's where the learning is. So sometimes you just have to no matter what. But if you are newer and you're trying to learn everything there is about quilting so that you can make the best product possible, then having a guide to do so, it makes the most sense instead of piecemealing stuff from here from different makers and creators. And I think the comprehensive idea of like, here's what you're going to look for in a machine. Here's the tools you want to have on hand. Here's the kind of threads you want to look for. Here's the why and the reason. Like, I think for me, because I grew up around sewing, I knew some stuff, but I didn't know a lot of things. And I think as I was learning to quilt, my friends who dragged me into it, kind of assumed that I knew things that I didn't know because I wasn't a sewist. I hadn't been sewing. That was like, that was my mom's thing. And so I had to go learn a lot of stuff on my own because I was like, what are they even fucking talking about right now? So I'd like Google it or I'd like find it on Instagram or YouTube and be like, holy shit, I never knew that was a thing. And now I know. And then I was like, but it, stuff like, oh, because, when you chain piece, and I'm like, what's that? They're like, you don't know what chain piecing is? And I was like, hello, this is only the second quilt I've ever made. How would I know that?
Sure.
So anyway, um, that's really cool. And I think there are so many like books out there and so many like, here's how you quilt, here's how to make a quilt.
Yeah.
Like what makes one book over the other? But I don't think I've ever seen a book that has like troubleshooting in it, that has the how to fix it, or if you can fix it, kind of, set aside to specifically address that. So,
Yeah. Well, and also, when you know one technique and then you're thinking, oh, I'd like to do something different, you have to go search out that information in a different book usually.
mhm,
So this book's kind of got
everything.
literally, that's why it took 4 years. It's got everything. But I mean, this sounds so dumb, but um for a long time even after I was like a very proficient quilter,
Mhm.
joining binding ends like
It
was
took me a
crazy for
really
me.
long
I like
time.
and I would be like, how do I've got to like put it off the side of the quilt and I got to do that, right? So,
Mhm.
it's so annoying. It's so dumb. I mean, I've got it now, right?
Right.
I'm really good at it, by the way.
Yeah, like I'm
But
superb
so
now.
if you don't, there are quilters who don't want to mess with that at
Mhm.
all. So I think there's four different ways to join binding tails, three or four,
Okay. Okay.
like different ways. One where you literally don't have to measure anything, right?
Mm,
You are done, you can be done,
yeah,
right? Like some people love to hand bind, not one of those people. I am a complete machine binder.
me too.
Um, the quilt police would be mad at both of us.
I don't care.
Yeah, same. But
They're not the one making the quilts I'm making, so they can suck it.
yeah, yeah. There's all kinds of different ways to do. It's a guide to achieve what you want to achieve,
Yeah,
whatever that is. Um,
it's fantastic.
yeah, thanks. Thanks. I worked on it for a long ass time.
Yeah.
I joked, one of my friends was like, "Oh my gosh, you going on a book tour?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, my book has just recently made the top 10 quilting books on the New York Times bestseller list."
Mm.
And she was like, "There's no New York Times bestseller quilt book list." I was really touched that she thought there was.
That's
I was
cute.
like, "Thanks." Yeah,
Thank you.
but
You're like, who's gonna pay for my tour? Because it's not me.
no, no, no. But the
That's
book
so
is out
cool.
now, which is fantastic. There was pre-orders for a long time and it was kind of confusing, but it's on Lucky
Mm,
Spool, it's on Amazon. I think it's even on, well, I would say Target, but I'm not shopping at Target currently.
me either.
So
We don't
I don't
shop
shop
there.
there.
Or
Amazon,
Amazon.
I will do like random stuff that I can't get anywhere else, but
It's a love hate.
for the
Yeah.
most part, I'm saving my money.
Yeah. Go directly to Lucky Spool then. That's what I always tell people
Yep.
anyway. Like, go directly to the seller. Like, if it's a pattern, if it's whatever, like, go directly to that person and buy it from them. Or, in this case, go to Lucky Spool. I just checked, it's on the website, it's there. So
Lucky.com.
yeah,
Yeah.
luckyspool.com, School of Quilting, the definitive guide. It's like you said, it's for all skill levels. It's got step-by-step instructions, troubleshooting for those different skills.
Yeah.
And I love that you've got so many different skills in there because I think, yeah, you're right. It's like some people, the book is like, here's the skills you need for this pattern specifically, but doesn't really give you anything else beyond that. So just the
Yeah.
fact that, you've built a lasting reference for quilters and sewists for years to come that they can keep.
That's the hope, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's exactly what I hope for. I kind of wrote it because it was the guide that I didn't have,
Yeah.
right? I would have loved to have had somebody tell me why I needed a certain thread weight,
Yeah. No, for sure.
right?
Yeah. But
Why, what is thread weight? What is thread weight?
what even
Why
is it?
would, why would I choose this batting? One's cheaper, one's more expensive. Like, why wouldn't I just get the cheaper one, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, there's so much to know. How can we know it all?
Yeah. You
How can
can't.
we know it
And
all? I mean, it takes literal years.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Truly it does, especially when you're piecemealing it yourself or learning from other people is great, but it's like they only know what they know and
right.
it's their opinions too. It's like, and
Yeah,
I tell people like this is my opinion, this is why I think this, but it's not the end all be all. This is just what I have found works for me and my style and what I like. Again, like machine binding only. I've hand bound, I've done it. I
right.
if I choose to do it, I'm really good at it. I can, but I freaking hate it. So I don't do it because again, like you said, if I'm not enjoying it, why would I do it?
Yeah.
If it doesn't make me happy, if it doesn't, and to me, I'd rather sew it on by machine because it's more durable. It's going to last longer.
Yep. Especially for kids' quilts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's for me a non-negotiable. If people specifically request, like, I really want this hand bound, I'll say I'll attach it to you for you. You can finish it by hand. I
Right.
will not. But for kids' quilts, it's a non-negotiable for me. They will be machine bound no matter what. So anyway,
How did we get so smart?
trial and error. Let me tell you what, fucking around and finding out. That's how.
Yeah, right. I
That's
know.
honestly what it takes. And I think there's a certain like stubbornness, I think, in it where it's like I will figure this out and
Yeah.
you can't tell me otherwise and I will keep trying until I figure it out. And I think for me, part of that is like watching my mom create and make stuff my whole life and not just sewing, but she's done so many other things and just watch her be like, I can make that, I can figure it out. So that kind of gave me permission as a
Yeah.
growing up to have that kind of attitude towards things. But also I'm the oldest child. I'm obviously daughter. So being like an elder millennial, being the oldest daughter, it's just like I will do it myself and I will die before I ask for help. So
Yeah, I'm the same way, but for different reasons. But yeah, I was an athlete in college, a
mm,
Division 1 college athlete on a scholarship of all
ooh.
things. So there was a lot of, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but there was a lot of pressure to
Hmm.
perform all the time. And it's really good and it's really not good because not good you feel like, well, at the time I didn't feel like, but I look back, I'm like, oh, that was like a cult. But
Ah,
it will te you will work harder, you will try to work harder than anybody. You will like crawl over broken glass to get where you want to be because you're surrounded by people who are so competitive all the time.
yeah.
What it's translated into is an adult who will do anything
Yeah.
to to figure it out or to make it work, like you said. So,
Yeah.
you had that permission from your mom, and then I was forced to do it in school.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the result is the same, right? Like
Sure. Yeah.
you've got a curiosity, you want to know something, and you're gonna do it no matter what,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is like a really valuable skill to have.
It honestly is.
It,
It honestly is.
you know how I was saying before, like you think everybody has maybe the same curiosity or knowledge level as you. The
Hmm.
difference is that a lot of people do not want to go out and find it,
Right.
which is totally understandable because it takes work and time and effort and all that.
Hmm.
For those of us who are like, I will make this happen,
Hmm.
it's a great skill to have.
Yeah.
Um, but hopefully, like having a book like this makes it so somebody doesn't have to go have that attitude, right? You don't have to be that person who will figure everything out. It's just kind of
Fly
laid
your
out for
way.
you, makes it a little
Yeah.
easier maybe. I'm
Yeah.
terrible at self-promotion, especially for like book stuff. I'm just like, it's so hard for me to talk about it in a way like, I know
Yeah.
this thing that can help you, but I really think it can.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I mean, it is self-promotion feels kind of crazy, but you did something really cool and I think it's worth talking about. It's worth sharing about. So let this be your platform to be unapologetically self-promoting because that's why you're here.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
That's
I
what we're
appreciate you giving me the space to do it.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I am really looking forward to grabbing a copy and just having it on hand because I think even though like I said, I make quilts for people, I long arm all the time, there's still stuff I don't know, there's still stuff I'm learning. And so it's and to just have to maybe pass on to somebody like, hey, you're learning to quilt, try this book. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
think that would have been a lifesaver in a lot of instances when I was fighting my way into learning how to make quilts. But um yeah, that's so cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today and talking about your book and your years of experience and skills. And but before we wrap up, is there a tip or piece of advice that you would want to share with the listeners?
Just to tie in what I said before, don't be afraid to fail. Like it's totally normal. We all do it, and don't let Instagram or online stuff be the barometer which or what you judge yourself against.
Mm,
Uh, I literally pieced a quilt for my own book wrong, and I had to make another one. So I mean, like I'm an author and I did it wrong for my own book. So let that be a lesson, right? Like we're all just we're all just doing it. Don't be afraid to fail. It's normal, and don't judge yourself for failing. That's I think
yeah,
the biggest thing.
I love that. And I agree with you. I think it's as a teacher, I would tell my third graders the same thing all the time. Like you learn by making those mistakes and by fixing them. And if you make a mistake and never go back to that thing again, you'll never fix it. You'll never learn it. And so, we keep
Yep.
trying. And if I'm telling you you're doing something wrong, or if I'm like intervening in something you're doing, it's because I'm trying to help you learn from that mistake and get it right. And it's the same with quilting. I
Yeah.
agree. You got
We're all just trying to be creative and have fun and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And there's nobody's going to come and like knock your door down and yell at you for messing up a seam or putting a block in your quilt wrong. Like you just seam rip it and you put it back in and you move along. Like
Or you leave it.
you just leave it.
Whatever. You do what you want, right? It's art.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's unique. Now it's totally unique and it's yours and
There will
and
never be another one.
nobody
Yeah.
exactly. Nobody can touch you.
I mean, yeah, within reason, right?
Sure, 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 sure. I mean, yeah, if it completely messes up the overall image of the quilt, then you might want to fix it. But for the most part, it's like,
And be
fine.
easy on yourself. That's another
Yeah.
thing, right? Like, let's go easy on ourselves.
Yeah. Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
You're just a person. You haven't been on this planet for very long.
Yeah. And there's enough going on. We all have stuff going on and we all have stress and quilting should is I don't want to say should, right? But
Mhm.
quilting is a fun way to sometimes distract yourself, to get out of your own head, to create something beautiful that feels good to be around, is a great gift for other people. It's a great way to show love. It's a great way to show comfort.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, there's a lot of really beautiful things about quilting,
Yeah.
and the community is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really awesome people in quilting.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are all my favorite things about it.
I love it. Yeah. It's a good place to be and it's not that serious. It's just fabric and
Yeah,
make what you want, make what you can and the rest is whatever.
that's right.
Yeah. Cool.
Whatever.
Well, thank you again for being on the show. And I can't wait for people to hear all about your book and to go get their own copy. And hopefully we will stay in touch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you.